time to break down some football.
We got to get our mind right. Touchdown, win.
From the perspective of guys who played in the NFL.
Touchdown!
And a guy who had one really great sack in high school.
Oh, you're so weak. You're a waste of my time.
Greg Camarillo and Marcus McNeil are the pros. And Skraby is the Joe.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Two pros and a Joe starts right now.
You know what the story of my life is? Before the podcast started, Greg and I were trying to get connected on Zoom and everything like that. And so I'm like stressing out because Greg can't hear me. And that's like one of the most stressful things about doing this Zoom thing is when someone can't hear you. And then you're doing the whole, can you hear me? Can I hear you? Like, what's going on? You need to unmute.
Just shaking my head. Nope.
And he's just shaking his head. So I'm like, shit. Marcus is going to be here any second. I got to run down to the computer downstairs. So I run down to the computer downstairs. I get my microphone. I sit down. I load my profile into Zoom. I get the thing going. I'm like, Greg, can you hear me? And he's like, nope. I'm like, what is going on? So then I text him, is your volume muted? And he goes, yup. So the whole time, Greg's computer was on mute, and I'm running around the house like a crazy person.
It wasn't even you.
It wasn't even me.
I just wanted to watch him panic, put some pressure on him, see how he reacts.
My heart rate was through the roof. I was like, this is not working.
Exercise running up and down the stairs.
Hey, those first few months were a little touch and go anyway, Scrapes. Like, you remember, I'm getting in, trying to figure out the audio. I feel you, Scrapes. It's a little stressful at first,
Because people are waiting on you, and you're the only one with audio issues, and you can see all their faces laughing, and you're like, they're probably laughing about me.
I was nice and relaxed, checking Twitter, checking Instagram. I was having a good old time.
Yeah, Greg was having a good old time. And this is Two Pros and a Joe. I'm Skraby. We have Marcus McNeil. We have Greg Camarillo. They both combined for 14 years in the NFL. I did not play in the NFL, but I had a pretty awesome sack in high school.
Great.
And that's about it right there.
Pause.
Pause, and then I'll move on. But we wanted to get together to do a free agent episode because there's so many different trades. There's so many different signings. There's all that good stuff. And so we're going to talk about that. And let's just get started, I think, with the biggest one of them all. Deshaun Watson going from the Houston Texans to the Cleveland Browns. I think the best part about this story to me is when Baker asked for a trade the day before and the Browns said no. And then they went and traded for Deshaun Watson the very next day. And then they're like, oh, wishes granted, big guy. I feel bad for Baker a little bit, but that was pretty shocking.
I didn't feel bad for Baker. I felt bad for the situation he was in, but you knew Baker was going to be all right. To be honest, I almost saw Baker Mayfield before Mariota, and I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I almost saw him going down to Atlanta a little bit. I feel like they might have appreciated him in the Falcon Stadium. You know what I'm saying?
Gunslinger.
Yeah, he got a gunslinger that knows how to dance. You know what I'm saying? He would have fit into the culture down there. But Deshaun Watson, the Cleveland, though, that's big.
You only get so many opportunities to get your franchise quarterback, like a dude that can be your man for the next 5, 6, 7 years. And you just got to pull the trigger, man. I know it is a huge question mark. How many games will he play? Will there be any legal issues? But the courts have cleared him of, I'm forgetting not civil. What's the other side of it? He's not going to jail for what he. There you go.
There's no criminal charges. They can't prove it.
So half of it is gone, and that was the big half as far as whether he's going to play. So there's still a question mark as how much he'll be suspended, how long he'll be suspended. But you got to go for it, man. We learned that from the Rams this last year. Sometimes you just got to push your cards in, push your chips in, and say, fuck it. And that's what the Cleveland Browns did. And I like it because Deshaun, man, when that guy's on the field, he is amazing.
I don't think fuck it is the right term to be using with Deshaun Watson right now. All right, let's keep it as far away from fucking it as possible with Deshaun Watson.
That is correct.
All right.
He said fuck it at least 22 times that we know.
Oh no, come on now.
Sorry.
Allegedly, they said, let's go for it, gentlemen. Hey, they went for it.
But they got a good deal with Deshaun, man, if he can play, because
Absolutely.
he's that type of quarterback. He is a franchise quarterback, and they already have a nice group of pieces right there that they can go with. And plus, like, I think his biggest issue was, because I thought he was going to Atlanta. Every one of my friends, family members, and everybody I know from Atlanta was praying for Deshaun Watson. I promise they were praying. They put up like a Facebook group. Like,
wow,
5,000,
that's serious.
Like it was crazy. Like, people say a prayer for Deshaun Watson.
What's the Facebook group going to accomplish?
They weren't even trying to. Right. It wasn't even like a group as much as it was a prayer. You know what I'm saying? It was like it was somebody like getting them to join into a prayer, like a group of people join into a prayer to actually have Deshaun Watson come to the Atlanta Falcons. But I think the issue with it was I don't think the Atlanta Falcons were ready to win yet, and Deshaun said that he wanted to win. And the Atlanta Falcons, between the Saints, the Falcons, and then, of course, Cleveland, like the Saints and Cleveland, they are kind of on that upward tick. The Saints are always a good team, but the Falcons got too much to do right now. No way they have a winning season.
I think it also, I think the Browns won because they threw the most guaranteed money at him. He had he got the extension of 5 years, $230 million, ridiculous amount of money. And the Browns came with that. And they also, NFL contracts, and we'll get into this with the Matt Ryan dead cap. The NFL contracts are extremely difficult to understand, especially when you got signing bonuses, roster bonuses, all those other bonuses. But I guess the Browns are only paying Deshaun Watson this year, just over $1 million on base salary. Yeah. So that they can, if he gets suspended, they're only out that $1 million, but the rest of it is already guaranteed anyway. So they're making out this year.
They're doing fine. And it's what you have to pay for a guy of that talent. You gotta give him bucks. And that's what they did. And then, you know what? Let's give Baker Mayfield credit. He's in an odd situation right now, but he took them out of the dumps. Cleveland had been in the dumps for decades.
Yeah.
And they made the playoffs. He did his job. He was drafted there to improve that team. He did his job, and it's time to move on because they got a better quarterback now.
I don't think Baker improved that team. I always felt like that team was Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt's team. You know what I'm saying? Like that duo, whenever they got off and whenever they were doing good and they were putting pressure on the defense to stop the run, like that opened it up for Baker. I'm still not really sold on Baker as a starting quarterback in this league. And
neither are the Browns.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I just don't see him going anywhere else and really making that big of an impact on the field,
I'm racking my brain.
The Browns agree.
I'm racking my brain. I cannot figure out where Baker's going to go and be a starter. I can't figure it out. There's
Seattle.
Seattle's one of them, but Seattle said Drew Lock is their guy, and Pete Carroll said they think they can win championships with Drew Lock. I don't really know where Baker's going to go, and he's going to be an odd man out a little bit. He's not going to Minnesota, not going to Dallas, not going to the Arizona Cardinals. He's not going. Yeah, maybe Seattle is the only place for him, because another place Baker could have gone, like you said, the Falcons. He was right there, but Marcus Mariota, the backup quarterback for the Raiders last couple seasons, he is now the starter there, and they're getting a deal in Atlanta. That's good. That's a good move for him. I don't think he expects to win Super Bowls, but he's going to be a starter.
Shoot, let both of them go, and then they can shoot it out. You know what I'm saying?
I think Marcus Mariota is done with the quarterback competition.
Hey,
he ain't got no choice. Draft.
He ain't got a choice.
They're going to draft one, and he's making about 12 a year. He's going to be in a competition. No pure starting quarterback agrees to about 12 a year. That's money where you're filling a stopgap, and somebody else is about to jump in there. So Marcus is going to be a starting quarterback for a year if he can fend off a draft pick, and then he's going to sit on the bench and make a nice 12 mil chilling.
12 mil chilling. All right, that sounds actually pretty good. That actually sounds really good. The other trade that went down, which was pretty crazy, was the Seahawks. We talked about the job being open. We didn't even mention that Russell Wilson got traded. I can't tell you as a 49er fan how happy I am. I never have to face Russell Wilson again because that was he actually will be one of the quarterbacks I think of in 50 years. And I'm like, oh, that guy, he just makes me so angry because he beat my team every time. But he goes to Denver Broncos. And they send back Noah Fant, Drew Lock, and Shelby Harris. Yeah, Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, bunch of other stuff. But Russell Wilson now, Denver Bronco.
All worth it. Every penny. I don't even know what you just listed, but all of it's worth it.
I don't know either.
5 more things. All right, so the AFC West is like, I don't know my history that well, but I'm guessing it's what the Cold War was like, where you stockpiling weapons, getting ready for action, because this shit's awesome. The Raiders got Devontae Adams. We'll talk about that. Russ with the Broncos. The Chargers got Khalil Mack and kept Mike Williams. We'll talk about them. And then Kansas City's adding Juju. I know that's not the sexiest thing in the world, but you got Patrick Mahomes and that. I'm excited, man, to watch the AFC West. That's championship quality teams across the board. I love it.
I'm going to tell you why I love it so much is because now, like, it's not a guaranteed, like, well, the front running spot of the Kansas City Chiefs kind of like the gap narrowed a little bit for me. Like before it was like every year you come in, KC about to go ahead and run through and who can kind of compete with them. But with some of the talent that come in from Russ to Khalil Mack and the Raiders were already good, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole division loaded. Like I would go ahead and say right now the AFC West is the best division in football right now.
It is now. It definitely is now, especially with all the other offensive weapons that have moved into the division. The biggest thing I think that happened in the AFC West was the fact that Juju Smith-Schuster and Jackson Mahomes are going to be able to do TikToks together because Juju is now a Chief and they need to they need to do some sort of collaboration or something like that. I think Jackson Mahomes actually Instagram that out. He said, we need to collab. I was like, get out of here, Jackson. Get out of here, Jackson. But anyway, so Russell Wilson with the Broncos. I mean, it's a good move, but I don't understand why people are saying that the Broncos are like a Super Bowl team now. I don't think they have enough. I don't think they have enough.
See, people were sleeping on Denver's defense last year, though. Like Denver's defense was a top defense last year. They were scoring a lot of points, causing a lot of turnovers. So whenever you already have a defense as good as you have right there, and mind you, that's without Von Miller last year, right? Von Miller was hurt for a part of the year, then was traded. So like that's a defense without Von that was almost a top 10 defense. And now you add Russ with those wide receivers. Yeah, like you got a lot of firepower.
And they got their receivers locked up in contracts lately. So Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy. Like that's those guys are going to be there for a while. And now they got Russ. It's sexy, man. They got a nice potent offense. And like Big Mac said, the defense is already there. They're a solid defense. And so they're ready to compete. They're ready for action.
Maybe it's just the hater in me. I just can't put a Russell Wilson-led team above anybody else.
And you got Ciara in the stadium every Sunday. That boosts the defense.
Who cares about that? Come on now.
I'm ready for action.
I forgot.
Have I told y'all the story when J-Lo came to the sideline in Miami?
No. I want to hear
it. She came to the sideline in Miami. I shook Mark Anthony's hand after he sang the national anthem just so I could touch a hand that touched J-Lo. I thought that was amazing.
Wow.
I hear Mark Anthony's like,
I swear I ran faster. I swear I jumped higher. It was amazing. It was a great impact in my life. And the Broncos are about to feel the same exact thing.
Oh, my God.
That's kind of like how you play when you're in high school and the girl you like, you know what I'm saying, is in the game. Like, you're going extra.
Absolutely. 100%.
I mean, I wish I would have had that. I would just
That's
wave
when
back
you
at
got
the
that
girl.
one sack, Skraby.
Yeah, but no one was at the game. It was in garbage time, bro. It was in garbage time.
I don't know how it was at Auburn, but at Stanford when I was there, we had just a varsity weight room. It wasn't just a football weight room. If there was a women's team in there at the same time you were lifting, you tried harder. You got stronger. Like it's a proven
Max
fact.
Day. Y'all Max Day. Whenever the softball team was in there.
You tried harder, man. You tried harder. That's the Ciara effect, and it's going to happen in Denver.
I'll tell you, effect. It's a reason cheerleaders are on the sideline. You know what I'm saying?
I think I just found our quote
to push them around
Ciara.
Of the players. You know what I'm saying?
That's the Ciara effect. All right.
You're learning the inside.
Speaking of Von Miller, he signed with the Buffalo Bills for 6 years and $120 million. I didn't know that there was a team that was going to give him something like that out there, but good for him.
Wow. I don't know if Buffalo won on that. You know, I mean, it makes they were already they went to the AFC Championship this past year. So it's like
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So they're searching for pieces right now to try and make that team push for that Super Bowl run. I just don't think that Von Miller is that disruptive on defense for him to push them to that level. It looks good on paper, but I don't know if he's that player that's going to get them over that hump, you know?
Yeah, so it's you got to figure if he's a free agent, where does he want to go as he gets older? And he's looking for a place where they're going to play from ahead most of the time. And you look at Buffalo compared to the rest of their division, and there's a good chance that they're going to be playing with the lead, allow him to do his thing. So I get it, but damn, I mean, that's a lot. He'll be 38 when he's done with that contract, and that's hard to be in those trenches for that long.
Definitely. I can't even do it. And I am 36, let alone 38. Jeez, I can't imagine it. 2 more years. Another crazy thing that went down. The Colts gave up on Carson Wentz. Man, Carson Wentz is when there's smoke, there's fire about this guy, and he just gets passed around the league. And now he's with the Washington Commanders. Why do you laugh? It's true, Greg. He went from the
way he gets passed around. Carson Wentz is the girl at the club who looks good in the dark after a few beverages. Come on. And then the lights come on.
Solid.
It's just not the same that you once thought it was.
What happened to him? He was like an MVP that 1 year. And then I can't blame it on the injury because people get injured all the time and still play great.
He's just not consistent. He looks like some games, dude looks amazing. Dude looks awesome. And the next game, he stinks it up. And he's just... All right, Skraby, let me go. Let me just rephrase this whole thing. All right, so from a player perspective, at least my player perspective, on off-season moves, day one when we go to training camp, can the coach come into this meeting and look me in the eye and honestly tell me they did everything they can to get us to win a championship? If you are starting the season with Carson Wentz as your quarterback, the answer is no. There's not. You didn't. And we saw it with the Colts. They were good. And then he blew it. Not just him. They blew it. And so that should be the goal. Marcus Mariota, you come in here as my starting quarterback. I'm questioning what our motives are, especially with Tom Brady in the division. But when you go get Devontae Adams, oh, yeah, you mean business. Let's roll.
Yeah. I just don't. Carson Wentz. You go from not knowing what your name's going to be to not knowing what the quarterback situation is going to do. It's just the Commanders just have to get it together. Maybe it's just like a Band-Aid to put on until they find that franchise quarterback that they're looking for. But I mean, we've all watched Carson Wentz. He's been on this show numerous times. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. As far as a topic, and
yes.
It just has not been good for him right now. So I don't know what Ron I'm going to do with him up there with the Commanders, but hey, maybe he fools us all. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he comes out and balls out next year.
He could. He's got Terry McLaurin, which is pretty good. He's got Antonio Gibson. He's got a couple other guys. Jerick McKinnon is coming back. So I think everything could be looking up if they get a couple more guys. But Tony Gwynn Jr. always says this because, all these reports came out right after he got let go by the Colts about how he was hard to play with and he, wasn't up to date on things. And Tony Gwynn Jr. always says this on the show. It's funny how when teams get rid of you, how these negative things that haven't been said all season long are all of a sudden out there in the media. And I want to ask you guys, because Carson Wentz is a victim of this a lot. When he left the Eagles, there was a ton of stuff about him. When he leaves the Colts, there's a ton of stuff about him. But I mean, is that something that happens? Like all of a sudden a team will spin it and throw out PR like that? Like, do you guys know?
I mean, you don't have to see that person anymore. You can't talk shit. I couldn't talk shit about you guys and then come see you on every week.
Not me. I'm talking shit about everybody. I'm gonna let you know. That's what I mean. That's just
talk
me.
Shit about your teammate to the media.
I'm gonna talk shit about my teammate to his face, and
that's
then
fine.
the media's around, they can get it all. You know what I'm saying? I'm never gonna say something about somebody. Like if I was to say something about somebody in the media and the media called it first, it was only because I hadn't got to the conversation with them yet. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not the type of person who's going to say something over here and not say it over there. So I'm pretty sure that the shit that they were saying about Carson Wentz, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was already in the locker room. Now, whether the media caught a hold of it and took it out there is probably the difference. They probably like, hey, whoa, that's our quarterback, guys. We're gonna hold that, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Keep everything good around him, you know what I'm saying? Keep the morale of the team high. But when he's gone, you can let out your true feelings.
So the opposite of that is Von Miller. So when Von Miller left Denver, nothing but good things. He shows up in LA for 2 months, nothing but good things. And that's the difference of somebody that's a good teammate and somebody that rubs some people the wrong way.
You got Von Miller who's going to be with his teammates laughing and joking. And then all I see is this picture of Carson Wentz that Skraby portrayed for me. Him on the crutches, walking down the hallway with his game book, you know what I'm saying? And the crutches, trying to limp down the hallway by himself. So like, to me, like, like the pain was on the wall. Like, we knew like Carson Wentz was having troubles like connecting with his players. So this isn't a surprise to me. Skraby told me he was a bad teammate years ago.
Thank you, Marcus. I was going to bring it up, but I don't need to anymore because that story left such a lasting impact with you that I don't need to tell it anymore. It is now officially in lore.
It's
on
a
this
part
show.
of me. It's
it
a
is
part
lore
of me.
on this show.
Yes.
So I appreciate you bringing that up. So the person
Carson Wentz, come on the show whenever, and you can clear this all up.
Yeah, please. I mean, I'll reach out to the Commanders. He'll probably be like, "No, I'm good." I've heard of that podcast. I've heard of them. They talk shit about me all the time. There's some story out there from some kid who saw me at a Super Bowl with my crutches, and I'm over it.
I heard of that podcast. Isn't that the podcast with the linebacker and the fucking quarterback?
Yeah, you mean that guy who's always talking about Tom Brady's dick? Yeah, that podcast. That podcast.
I love that.
That's an identifying factor of our podcast, guys.
Hey, Skraby, first of all, congratulations on another year of being able to talk about Brady's balls.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
It wouldn't have been. Oh, well, I guess we did know Tom Brady was coming back, but we didn't know Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, I got that mixed up in my mind. But yes, another year of Tom Brady. He's ready to come back. I guess he was texting with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans about, I'm going to run it back. And one of them texted back, what? This is crazy. You just retired. And Tom Brady was like, yep, I did, but I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Talk about that. I mean, I don't really think that and I know that they got Leonard Fournette back with the team for 3 years and 21
They got Godwin too. They got
Godwin and Mike Evans, but I don't really know. They lost some guys on defense. I don't really see them as a Super Bowl team. Tom Brady adds a couple notches to that, but I don't really see him as a slam dunk Super Bowl team.
I mean, let's already declare them the winners of their division, barring any major injuries. It's not Mariota in Atlanta. Oh, can we talk about the Saints? The Saints waited for the club lights. Baby. They waited for the club lights to come on. 90% of the people to go.
Oh, and then you go grab it.
Shit, we gotta get us a quarterback.
I gotta get me one.
Like, they clearly didn't want him. They clearly were looking for other people. Like, fuck it. Come on, Jameis. Let's go.
They went to the recycling bin.
Yeah, they went to the recycling bin.
I think that describes Jameis Winston's career to a T. Like, he throws the ball and you're like, oh man, what's going to happen here? I don't know about you. And then it goes for a touchdown. You're like, yeah, I love you, Jameis. That's kind of what the Saints did. But on the other side, you have the interception where you're like, oh, God damn it. Like, of course, Jameis is going to throw a pick right there. Blah.
But you can't feel that bad. I mean, like, Jameis can't feel that bad, right? I felt like
he loves it. He got $28 million.
Yeah, but like, even them like going after Deshaun, like, you have to know where you are on the quarterback chart. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right.
That's true.
Like, you got certain levels of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not to say Jameis is the worst quarterback, but he ain't a top 5 quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
Not the worst.
Yeah, and Deshaun Watson is a top 5 quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Even coming in next year, if he gets to play, he'll probably.
He's right there. A question for you. Would you rather start the season with Carson Wentz or Jameis Winston?
I was just thinking that question. I'll go first. I would rather.
Would you rather?
I would rather have Jameis.
No answer.
I think I would rather because I'm struggling with it because all I see is Carson Wentz fumbling in his own end zone and trying to push it in. But I'm going to go Jameis Winston. I think he could be the guy that can make more plays.
I think I would be more excited to play with Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston all day. Like, was that really a question after we thought about it? Like, how could any of us pick Carson Wentz after all we talked about?
All right. Other pop quiz. Do you know the name of the new head coach for the New Orleans Saints?
Yeah, Dennis Allen.
There you go. I had to Google
ding, 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 ding.
He was a Raiders head coach.
I mean, it's just like the Saints have fallen off so hard from Drew Brees and Sean Payton to Jameis Winston, and the guy I had to Google.
I didn't think that he was that unnoticeable. I don't know, but getting back on track.
So Brady's going to win the division and go to the playoffs. You never know.
Okay, all right, we can talk about that as it comes. But Matt Ryan replaced Carson Wentz with the Colts in Indianapolis, and people are saying that the Falcons got fleeced in this trade, and I don't know why people use that word, but I just used it, so we're going to go.
What does it mean?
It means that they got like screwed, like you got one over on me.
Okay.
You got fleeced. I took everything from you.
I've never heard that. I've never heard anybody say that before. That was the first time in my life. Yes.
It's my fantasy football league. Yeah, it's like an insult too. Like fleeced means like you're an idiot. I stole everything from you, and you got nothing.
They got a shirt put on them. Like, what? I love the
culture. But people are saying they got fleeced because the Matt Ryan, he is going to end up going to the Colts for just like a 3rd round draft pick, and the Falcons are eating $40 million on his dead cap or on the dead cap. So that means that they still owed him $40 million on their contract. Did you know? Pop quiz for everybody, since we're into pop quizzes. Matt Ryan restructured his contract 4 times since the year 2018. It's only 2022 and we haven't even hit the season yet. So he's restructured it every single year, because the Falcons have no idea what they're doing with his contract. They're just moving money left and right. And now they're stuck with the $40 million dead cap, which goes against their salary cap. They cannot compete with $40 million eaten on the books with nobody there.
They gave up. The Falcons gave up this year. They just said, oh, fuck, Brady's back. We're just going to sit this year out and catch y'all next year.
The Falcons had one plan. It was Deshaun Watson or bust. Deshaun Watson's out of here. It's a bust. We're gonna go ahead and sink this year and see what we can end up in the next. It's not even a good quarterback draft anyway. So maybe, you know what I'm saying, this next year coming up, better quarterback class, and we can start over.
That Kenny Pickett has small hands. I wouldn't want him on my team either. Anyway, so Matt Ryan, we talked about Jimmy G on this podcast all the time about how he makes like $25 million, and that's the going rate for a quarterback in the NFL. Matt Ryan is going to be making with the Colts. They gave up a 3rd round pick. He's going to be making $23.75 million against the cap. That's nothing. And then next year it's 28. So they're going to get 2 years of Matt Ryan for just over $50 million. And that is a great deal for the Colts.
Yeah.
Great deal. You know what's the best deal is for Matt Ryan, because his career was going nowhere in Atlanta. And now he's got a real shot. I mean, he's basically what Phillip Rivers was for them 2 years ago, but with a little more left in the tank.
I didn't realize that Matt Ryan's going to be 37 this year. 37 is kind of old for an NFL player.
Let me tell you about my only kick about Matt Ryan, right?
Let's hear it.
And I remember Matt Ryan because he's a great guy, first and foremost. So, the next part probably not going to be that good, but he's a really
build him up to crush him down.
He's a really great guy, like a really great guy. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just haven't seen him win that big game, so
we saw that big game.
Yeah, even though the Colts, you know what I'm saying, like can be a playoff team, I don't know if he takes them all the way to the chip, like
Matty Ice,
because I remember him at Boston College, right? That's the first time I remember watching them play. They ended up maybe winning the ACC or something that year, so they went to a nice bowl game. So I watched them play, and he stunk it up. You know what I'm saying? It was the first time, the first time like on a big stage, and he just didn't show up, and every time I watch him in big games, I just don't see him show up. He's consistent. He makes yards, he throws touchdowns, but you got to have that it factor sometimes. And that's what I'm looking for from Matty Ice.
He is very, the only funny thing I saw from that Hard Knocks of their season is when they were taking pictures of him and he was like, oh man, I don't want to take a picture with my shirt off. I just saw Colin Kaepernick with his shirt off, and I just definitely don't want to take a picture with my shirt off. I thought that was pretty funny. But that was the only thing that I can remember from that entire show. So anyway, I don't know. That was a weird
just realized that I played
tangent.
against him in college, thanks to Big Mac. I had no idea. No, I know I played against him in college.
You played against Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan in college. I had no clue till right this very second.
That second right there.
Right, but to go back to my earlier comment, if I start the season with Matt Ryan as my quarterback on the Colts, I can believe that I have a chance at a championship. Is it a great chance? Not the greatest, but I can go into the season all in thinking that Matt can take us there.
No way. The AFC West is too loaded. Y'all need to switch over to the NFC. Ain't nothing you can do with Matt.
Let's talk about the AFC. The AFC West is just stronger because Devontae Adams was traded from the Packers to the Raiders for first and second round picks. The Packers are going to get right after. This is what I was talking about with Aaron Rodgers. We talked about him that night before, and Greg, I don't know, Marcus, if you knew this, but I cut out like a good 15 minutes of the last podcast because it was all about stuff about Aaron Rodgers. Because literally, as I woke up the next morning, he had announced that he's coming back to the Packers and this huge deal and all this other stuff. So we spent 15 minutes talking about what if he goes to the Titans, and I was like thinking, maybe he'll just put it up and just ate away at me. So I cut it out. But Aaron Rodgers, I don't know how he agreed to go back to the Packers without Devontae Adams, but he knew about it, and now Devontae Adams is in the AFC West with the Raiders and back with Derek Carr, and that's what he wanted.
What? Why? How? What?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
I'm going to tell you one thing.
What? Go ahead. Let's hear it.
No.
I want to hear it because I still don't understand it.
Well, I'm going to tell you what Aaron Rodgers is about. He proved it to me right there.
Money.
He's about that bag. Yes. Exactly.
Right. There's no other explanation.
I got my championship. I'm going to the Hall of Fame.
Give me my bag.
300. Give me that bag, man. Give me that bag.
I understand that. I do, but Aaron Rodgers is he's not going to struggle to make money post football. It's not going to be hard for him to make more than that. $50 a year. Like, I don't care what type of commentator you are. Stephen A makes what? He's the best. Like, he makes 10. That's 50. Like, you can't get back 50. Does he need $50 more million?
Apparently, you know how many homeless people he can feed with that?
Right,
exactly, Marcus.
This conversation.
Thank you.
All right. Aaron, we need you back. Okay. Who are you going to give me? We're going to take Devontae away from you, but we'll re-sign Lazard. What? No.
And Robert Tonyan.
We'll give you 50 a year. Deal. We got a deal, buddy.
We got a deal.
Come on, man. You took what? No. Stop
it makes literally no sense.
No sense. It makes dollars. Lots of dollars.
Packers fans are kind of pissed. I saw a Packers blog that said Aaron Rodgers finally fucked the Packers. And you got to think about it. It's true. He just put them back like 2-3 years because they can't afford to sign anyone. He's making $50 million.
Might this just be a vengeance move for them drafting Jordan Love? Like him just being like, fuck my career.
I feel like the Packers gave Aaron Rodgers. I feel like the Packers gave Aaron Rodgers too much control. They should have just the whole time been like, we are the team. We'll make the decisions on what we do. We would like to have you back, but we're not going to be held hostage by you because we can. I'd rather go to Jordan Love.
All right. So quick question. This is a quick question. This is completely off topic, but who is the biggest franchise quarterback Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre?
Brett Favre.
For Green Bay? Oh, I think Brett Favre is still more of an icon.
He's a legend. Aaron Rodgers is too new to be a legend.
Even though they gave up everything for Aaron Rodgers and then they just sit Brett packing it in?
They both win one Super Bowl?
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe Brett won too.
I think it's
Favre is the legend.
He is, but to Green Bay, like they let him go. I'm saying in Green Bay though.
So you're saying what they did? See, but they don't have
he's only
Aaron
one-time
Rodgers sitting on the bench waiting for action.
Oh, so you think they saw this in Aaron Rodgers before?
I would hope. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm going to go with Brett Favre. I think he's got a little more legend status.
Right.
Yeah. Brett Favre was like the guy, like everybody loved that guy. Aaron Rodgers, people could take him or leave him.
I'm going to go with Aaron just because they gave him 3 years, 150. But where do I go? You know?
I was just, that's hilarious though. Aaron Rodgers, man, it's just crazy. But Raiders are going to be very good. So we'll talk about the AFC West as it goes along.
Can I go to the NFC West real quick and bring up something I don't understand that hopefully you guys can clarify for me?
Sure.
The Rams getting rid of Robert Woods to bring in Allen Robinson. So you got a cog of the machine that is proven in Robert Woods. Like he knows your offense. He delivers in this offense. As soon as he comes back, he's healthy and ready to go, no problem. But you get rid of him and you bring in Allen Robinson, who, I mean, he's a good receiver, don't get me wrong, but it's unproven in your offense. I can't quite figure out why take that risk when you got a dude on your team that you know works.
The only thing I can think about, Greg G, is like, maybe they still hoping that Odell come back. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're like, all right, we still can bring Odell back in and, you know, we can part ways with Robert Woods if we get a guy like that. But to for the life of me, I don't understand either. He is a great receiver. I think he's the captain of the team. You know what I'm saying? Already has that rapport. So I don't understand it either.
I think OBJ will be back with him too. That's a good look for everyone.
He's trying to get with the Colts now. So screw you, OBJ. Get out of here. You're going to be. Hey, honestly, he won't be back until like October because of an ACL injury.
He won't be the same because he's built on that spring, that bounce, that explosion. That's not going to be there for a while.
Yeah. Hey, so let's pivot back to the AFC West one time because
I love this.
Because we did talk about them Chargers. You know what I'm saying? We talked about Khalil Mack, but they did put Khalil Mack with the Chargers. You know what I'm saying? Opposite of Bosa. If the Chargers can do one or two things this next year, I think they will really have a good push for the AFC Championship and possibly the Super Bowl. That is either bringing in a linebacker like Bobby Wagner to complete that defense on all three levels, right?
Yeah.
Or re-sign and making sure they get Kazir White back. You know what I'm saying? The young kid who had like I think he had 144 tackles last year. You know what I'm saying?
Something crazy,
you just need a guy like that in the middle that can just handle the middle of that defense, and that shit will look unstoppable.
And they brought in a corner. I'm blanking on his name right now.
JC Jackson.
There you go. So they got a starter over there. They're doing the right things, man. Especially, this is one of the biggest free agent signings to me outside of Devontae Adams that's not talked about because it's with the same team. But bringing Mike Williams back is clutch because dude showed his nuts this last year. He played hurt. He made all the big plays when you needed it. And they're going for it, man. They got Herbert for cheap right now. The division is loaded, and they are along for the ride, and I love it.
Yeah.
Did you say something about his nuts? I mean, what are you talking about, Craig?
The dude showed his toughness.
Oh, okay. I thought you said he showed his nuts, and so I was like, "Wow, I must have missed that."
Like
I must have missed that.
Put your nuts on the line. You know that saying, right? Like, right?
Nuts to the wall.
You say that? I'm not putting my nuts on the line.
He showed us what he was made of. When he was hurt,
Thank you.
When the whole season was on the line, at the Raiders game at the end, like literally, if he drops one pass, their season's over, and he just continued to deliver, and I loved it. But I mean, it's also what you do when you got a contract on the line. But the dude showed up, and I loved it. And he has all my respect, and I love that signing.
Yeah, if they can get a tight end in there, they'll be okay, and they shouldn't have to get rid of any nuts. You know?
I didn't say they get rid of him. He showed his nuts.
He showed him. Okay, okay. I kind of blocked that shit out. As soon as y'all started saying that type of shit, I
was wondering how he showed them, but I didn't want to know, was there a laceration on the pants or something like that?
Oh my God.
Gentlemen. Is that really that odd of a statement?
No,
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
I got
it. Not at all.
The guy with the one great sack heard it. Hey, anything about nuts, you know the guy with the one sack is going to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
That's all I'm hearing. I'm like, nuts. I'm like a 4-year-old. Some other things that happened with the Dolphins, they signed a bunch of people, actually. Yeah, they signed Teron Armstead, and he's now going to be playing offensive line for them. And before the podcast, Greg and I came to the same conclusion about how we know how good someone is if they're an offensive lineman. Is you just look at their contract, and 5 years, $75 million tells me he's pretty darn good. He's going there.
Analysis. He's got great pass setting abilities, nice drive on the run blocks.
Oh, all good job. Look at that
total dollar value.
Way to go, Greg. Way to
go. They also got
out. I know nothing about offensive linemen.
They also got Raheem Mostert, the running back from the 49ers, Raheem Mostert. They have him now, and they also have Chase Edmonds on their team. So I think their team is stacking up to be, their coach is Mike McDaniels. It really sucks that they forced Brian Flores out, because they would be set up for a really good spot here coming up with a coach like that.
You know what I just thought about?
What'd you think about?
I was like, Tua is left-handed, so I'm surprised that they paid the left tackle that much money.
See, that's why we didn't have an offensive lineman on the podcast.
Yeah, because
right tackle?
He deserves it. You know what I'm saying? Based off of the caliber of tackle he is, I just wouldn't think that. You know what I'm saying? It would be as big of a priority as the right tackle, who would be on the blind side with a left-hand quarterback.
Jesse Davis.
What's his contract number?
What was that, Greg?
What's his contract number? How good is he?
$12. That's really bad. But yeah, the Dolphins are coming up. I mean, Greg, I know that you had some classifications that you wanted to do before we got out of here. So
yeah, I mean, we got through most of them, but for this one, this is really just let's give Tua the tools and see if he is our quarterback. And it's been a question mark. If you protect him, you got a chance to see if he's really your guy, and that's what this was. You got to protect your tool. And that's
you think that they're going to move
in all aspects of life. Protect your tools, gentlemen.
You think that they're going to move Armstead to the other side, because this Jesse Davis guy, he's the right tackle. He's making 3 years, $15 million. So it's not like he's bad or great or anything like that. But that is weird, Marcus, that he's left-handed and you're getting a guy that's going to be blocking where he can see. It's called a blindside for a reason. That's why you blocked Phillip Rivers' blindside on the left side, because he couldn't see who was coming.
Marcus, would somebody like that switch sides after a contract like that?
I mean, you got to have some sauce. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be able to like really move. You can't be like a robot. Some guys get so stuck in that same left-sided pass set all the time. That's all you work. That if it's switching, you go to the right, it's a totally different feeling. Only reason I was able to do it, I played left and right, but I started off my career old school. It's how old school we were playing. They used to flip-flop strong and weak side tackles. So I went to whatever side the tight end was on because I was a strong side tackle.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I played left and right side some, but it wasn't that difficult to me. But I played basketball too, so I'm used to moving. So a guy who sauce. Yeah, you gotta have that extra sauce. I just said you gotta have that sauce.
You know who the right-handed quarterback that he's gonna protect will be if Tua can't handle business.
Who is that?
Teddy Bridgewater is who they picked.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's another place that Baker Mayfield can go is Carolina. They're looking for a quarterback. I don't think they're going to come into the season with Sam Darnold as their starter. Or Cam Newton for that matter. But Jimmy G, we should talk about this real quick. The 49ers are looking like they may have overplayed their hand a little bit with Jimmy G because they can't deal him. Now he is coming off of a surgery on his shoulder, so maybe teams are waiting to see how he feels coming out of that. But there's some people thinking that he's going to be cut because they can save that money, and the 49ers are just going to have to let him go because they're not going to be able to find a trade partner with him. Because I guess they've been trying to get obviously the highest value, and there was an offer from a team that had 2 second-round picks, and the 49ers were like, no. Yeah, well, it was originally he was going to the Steelers, and that was Mitch Trubisky, and then he was going to – that's not a good replacement for Big Ben. They really aimed low for that replacement. And then it was the Colts, but now that's Matt Ryan. And then, there was a couple other teams that Jimmy G was linked to that quarterbacks went to, like the Browns. The quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson goes there. Yeah. So, in Atlanta picked up Marcus Mariota.
Question.
You don't trade somebody to your division. Like, he wouldn't end up in Seattle.
So, who does Houston have now?
They want to go with Davis Mills
University.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're also not trying to win this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they want to. I think they said last year that they're going to give him a full go in the offseason as the starter.
Yeah.
I don't know that you could find quarterbacks like that in the NFL. I don't know that you should waste your whole offseason with a guy you're not sure about. But it's like when you have a head coach, you're like, well, he's on the hot seat. He starts the season bad. He's going to get fired. You fire him before the season. You're just going to rebuild your team in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
Scrapes, as a Niner fan, how would you feel about Jimmy G and Trey Lance having a quarterback competition? Because Jimmy G is making mid-20s. It's not that hefty of a number where you couldn't just keep him around.
I'm fine with whoever's better. It doesn't matter to me who plays. I'm fine with Trey Lance beating him out. And if that's the case, then Trey Lance is a better quarterback. But last year, that wasn't the case. Jimmy G was the starter.
Yeah.
The fact that you just said that 22 isn't that hefty of a number lets you know that quarterbacks are over fucking paid. You hear me?
Worth every penny.
I mean, Jameis Winston's making $14 million to do nothing right now, I guess.
Bro,
I don't know.
Come on, man. Share the wealth.
Did we forget anything? That I think we went over everything that was to talk about. I don't really have anything else. So I guess, one thing I do have, the Bengals, they ended up adding a bunch of protection for Joe Burrow. Lyle Collins is now going to be with the Bengals. They pulled him off the line. They signed 3 offensive linemen, one of them being Lyle Collins. I guess him and Joe Burrow were texting before he came to the team, and he was like, "Oh, is it real? Are you official?" He was like, "Your bodyguard's in town. No one's going to be touching you." And so they're going to be a good team. But I mean, that's perfect. I mean, the Bengals, I'm more surprised that they did the right thing. This is shocking to me.
No question. They had to. But when you got a quarterback for cheap, you got to go protect him. The other one, unless Marcus has a comment on that.
No, I still like what the Bengals are doing. I just like what that whole city's doing. They seem to be changing up the whole
name of the game.
Yeah, the whole name of the game, the culture up there, it's changing up. The Bengals used to be a team that was kind of lined up with losing. Now it's they got a shot.
Yeah, for sure.
Last one that I liked, Amari Cooper to the Browns. And it's the point where
when did that happen?
It happened. They traded him. You're making me concerned about this. But Dallas
10 minutes ago?
No, this was last week. Dallas is at a point where they paid too many people.
I completely whiffed on this news. I did not see this, and I'm pretty up to date on news, especially the Amari Cooper status.
There you go. So, Dallas paid too many people, and they had to start cutting folks, and Amari Cooper getting traded to the Browns. So,
you know what? I do remember that last week. Yeah.
So Amari Cooper and Deshaun Watson on the same field at the same time is a sexy combo.
Yeah, now I do remember it as well.
Yeah,
now
I kind of remember it too. Yeah, it was like in the middle, like
it was in the flurry of all the stuff that happened
like
last
Tom
week.
Brady. I think it must have been before Tom Brady came back or something.
March 12th was the article I'm looking at. I remember I almost fell for a tweet that I was going to say on the air at my job, and I'm so happy that I didn't because I read it first and I was like, oh, but I saw the tweet real quick and I was like, oh, this is breaking news. I need to tell everybody about it. And it was Amari Cooper in the playoff loss stood up, pointed at Dak Prescott and said, "You're the Black Kirk Cousins." And and that was the reason that he was traded. So I almost said that on the air. I'm glad I didn't, but I'm glad I got to tell it here. So
you would have been the one traded on that shit, Skraby, right there.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We'd keep you, Skraby. We'd honor your contract.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, there are worse things you can say out there about people not allowing their family members to come to games and stuff. That would be.
Yeah.
Yikes.
We have some great reviews on the podcast, everybody. So our stats say most of you are on iTunes, or Apple Podcasts. So just make sure to rate us. We also started the YouTube channel, and that is pretty cool because you can go and listen to that in your browser if you're at work or something and you don't want to open up your Spotify. So you just go to Two Pros and a Joe on the YouTube channel, twoprosandajoe.com for everything. And then the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Two Pros and a Joe. You guys, Marcus at Marcus McNeil 73, at M McNeil 73 for Instagram, Greg at Catch Camarillo on Twitter, and at Matt Skraby. I almost forgot, at Matt Skraby. But that's it. And now I think we are going to come back to you in a few weeks and talk about like the draft and all that stuff and see what happens going forward. So anything to close on, guys? What do you think?
Boom. You got it, Skraby.
Greg says, boom, boom.